So what is up, YouTube? This is Big Fire. Trying to make, gonna react to another video. I don't know why I'm bored or whatever. But yeah, let's see what's happening here. This happened a while ago. It's like the Dragon Quest interview
Erased. What do you mean
thing.
it got erased? It did? They deleted it.
So a few days ago, a video went viral sharing the thoughts of the Dragon Quest creator who expressed his concerns about censorship of this game in order to make it into Western.
I believe it was the creator of Dragon Quest and the one of the mangakas of like involved in Dragon Ball or something like that. Actually, no, because the creator of Dragon Ball is Akira Toriyama, so maybe he's like an editor. I don't know. Maybe he's an editor.
That video
I'm not
has
sure.
since been deleted, and a lot of people believe this is an act of further censorship. Now, before we get into the most recent updates, I covered this situation a few days ago, and to sum up what was taking place in this
so I think this guy is the creator of Dragon Quest.
This video, and if you want the full story, I'll put a link to this video in the description. Essentially, there's a lot of concerns about this remake. There was concerns about the biological genders being removed from the game and replaced with Type A.
So obviously my channel is very anti-censorship. Obviously, I'm very anti-censorship. I think it should not be censored. I think that's the most sensible position. And yeah.
A and Type B body types. On top of that, some of the iconic designs of this.
So yeah, this is pretty crazy, adding shorts and like stuff to like this design.
This game had.
It's very interesting because whenever something like this happens, people say that this change is organic, or like they just happen to it just happened to be a design change, and the design change in question is always the same costume, except now we've added stuff to cover it up. And it always goes one way, by the way. It's always to cover the costume up. It's never to like make it skimpy or anything. That's how all these changes go.
Been censored in the remake.
Just for all of you to notice that.
And all of these concerns were addressed by this video that went viral on Twitter. Where
that's why I like the idea that it's like a organic design change is terrible. Like obviously, if it was organic, then some of these quote unquote design changes would go the other way. Like they would make the costume sexier or like something of that nature. But it's always one way, where they cover up the costume. And by the way, the costume's just the same costume, by the way. It's like the same costume except more covered up now.
Where the Dragon Quest creator alongside the former editor in charge of Dragon Ball would talk about those two issues.
Okay, yeah, he was an editor. Yeah, that's
in particular, both citing them as acts of censorship that they clearly didn't like. And on top of that, they blamed a lot of the censorship on the demands of the Western market, in particular the United States, and they really just didn't understand why they have to go through all these hoops in order for these games.
Well, it's hard to understand if you're thinking logically. Yeah, you would never be able to come to this conclusion logically. You'd have to be stupid and crazy, and then you'd understand it.
To be properly labeled or rated and properly introduced into those markets overseas. Now, since then, that video has been removed. The tweet sharing it has been removed, and also the YouTube video with that interview has been taken down. For reasons we'll get into later in this video, but a lot of people believe this is a further act of censorship trying to cover up the tracks of this video, and also the statements made by the Dragon Quest creator that was seemingly questioning some of these acts of censorship for this remake. So in wake of that video going viral, a lot of people are coping and seething on Twitter. They saw the creator complaining about censorship of his game, and they turned around and called him a Nazi, a bigot.
Yeah, the Nazi accusation is pretty interesting. I didn't know Nazis were anti-censorship. It's kind of a new position they have, I guess. I mean, I guess they had that in the past, that new position of being anti-censorship.
What?
among other things. It's absolutely insane. Here's some examples. So this user saying, Yuji Horii going Nazi was not on my bingo sheet.
Okay. So
yeah, it's just like an overused buzzword at this point. Because the people who support the censorship can't say they're supportive of the censorship, so they have to find a way to attack you without revealing their true intentions. Because if you say you're supportive of the censorship, then like, you know, that would put you in like the sort of, like, they're calling you a Nazi, but they are like a fascist. So it doesn't like it wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't make any sense.
I found them.
But yeah, let me.
Shinigami eyes red equals block. 25 years old talking about Shinigami.
Wow.
Make him Hitler.
And it's kind of crazy because something like this, like, I'm glad that the anime community is like somewhat protected against like these kinds of attacks. Because they're more anti-censorship because of, you know, 4Kids and like stuff like that. Like this, but these types of people have been like seeping into like the anime conversation, because anime is becoming more and more popular. So, still gotta make an effort to gatekeep, you know, everyone who's like this.
Where they reply saying pretty much welcoming culture.
The gatekeeping must continue, because you do not want your hobby to be infected by people who are pro-censorship but are pretending not to be pro-censorship.
Or tourists who...
Because then, you know, things will inevitably become censored. That's... But so far, anime has stayed strong, which I like. Anime has been resilient.
Who tend to be Nazis.
So this is, again, this goes...
But it's starting to actually, well, I'm talking about anime too much. So I should probably focus on the video game stuff. I'm gonna bring up live action, how like that's getting the censorship injected into it, but okay, to attack you.
In schools nowadays, you don't learn anything. The only thing that you learn in schools is different drills in America.
Yeah, that might be for another video. Man, maybe the One Piece live action video that I should have made about like the whole Robin thing.
Back to what I said is that a lot of people on Twitter have misunderstood the word Nazi, because none of them, you have to understand that...
Well, I don't think they're misunderstanding it. I think they just...
clocks anymore. And they think the world started 2,000 years ago. They're just fucking retarded. So when they use the word Nazi, you have to understand that they don't know what that word means. So you have to look at it as its phonetic definition. Not see. They're not seeing their point of view, which makes you a Nazi. That's as far as it goes for them.
So I think they actually like do know the definition of Nazi and all that. I just think they want to attach a label to someone they don't like to, yeah, basically to like discredit them. Poison the well, so to speak. Actually, yeah, I think that would be the right, the right word, poison the well.
That's it.
You're responding here with by complaining that the...
But yeah, let me skip ahead, because this is a 30-minute video. I can't...
This creator, a bigot,
a Nazi for a video they didn't watch.
Over a video they didn't even watch. And the video is like less than 3 minutes, by the way. So you don't have the attention span to watch that video, but you have the...
Well, I mean, it is very telling that they don't watch the video but call him a Nazi, because it kind of just shows like the agenda is they just want to, they just want the design to be censored and want to discredit him for wanting it uncensored. You know, easy as that.
Attention span to make this.
But to be fair, I think only the Dragon Ball editor is the one who brought up you know, how prudish and stuff America was, and like I think the creator of Dragon Quest, he only cited the age rating or something like that.
This long thread calling them a Nazi. It's absolutely
and then
insane.
argue with people.
From what I remember, I mean, he might watch it again in this video. If not, you know, I guess I can just watch the whole thing with you guys. Because someone re-uploaded it on Twitter. So let me... Actually, let's keep going.
Conversations, we saw users pointing out the fact that a lot of people are wagging their fingers at these Japanese creators and saying, basically, we know what's best when it comes to censorship.
I think Japanese people are often extremely conservative dumbasses.
Oh, it's kind of weird that the conservative point of view now is for the uncensorship of not even boobs themselves, just like cleavage and like I guess sexy women. I guess sexy that is apparently a conservative position. And I guess the leftist position is to censor them. I don't know, it's very strange to me.
My favorite thing about this is like this guy or girl, I don't know, I guess it's a...
Also, it's very interesting that this position is apparently a political position at all. Because I'm pretty sure no one's running on like a position like this. Like, I'm going to uncensor video games, and I'm going to censor video games. I'm going to uncensor. Like no one's running on that political position. So it's just very strange.
It's a guy, if it says Evan, is one of the most prolific virtue signalers on Twitter. And it's actually crazy how easy it is to turn them into being...
Oh, this is a known guy, but let me skip ahead, though.
Yeah, it always has been. Yeah.
Because these are, like, random people, so let me get to the point.
Person, there's always some weird racist remarks that largely go unquestioned. But here's another example from someone...
Well, it's okay for them to be racist. It's simple. That's why it's okay to call white people crackers. But if somebody makes a racial joke or they use the N-word with an A singing along to a song, then now this person needs to be admonished and make a public apology.
Well, he means a person. What he means is like a white person saying that. If you were any other race and you like sung it in a song, like I think no one would care. But if you were a white person, you'd be screwed.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's totally once you realize that.
Well, possibly maybe Asians would get some flack actually, since people are saying like they're white adjacent or something.
A lot of these people, the only thing that they care about is making other people do what they tell them. And it doesn't like, there's no North Star principle here. There's not like oh, well, we care about this issue and we want to fix this issue. No, it's all about them.
Well, I think, these people would like have a political, have like an agenda that they want to push, and you are stopping them from pushing that agenda by you know, by like uncensoring things and stuff like that.
It's all about them and listening to them and having them tell you what to do. That's it.
They have like an agenda or like a worldview. Like it kind of reminds me of the Stellar Blade what was it, the journalist who said like, oh, you're killing women and like stuff like that. Like some people have like a worldview like that, like, oh, if men see a sexy woman in a video game, then they'll I don't know, harass women in real life or something like that. Even though that idea doesn't really make any sense, because why would it only pertain to a video game, not pertain to like seeing girls on Instagram or like OnlyFans and stuff? And the idea that men, I guess, don't have their own agency, that it's the media's fault, not like the men themselves who are doing that's fault. It's just very strange and doesn't really make any sense.
Trying to claim that they're a part of the Dragon Quest community, making this little comic here, saying that the essentially the Dragon Quest community doesn't care about DEI and censorship of their game, which is
interesting. Doesn't care about DEI or censorship. So we are to believe that the prime Dragon Quest fan is someone who wants their game censored and changed for modern audiences. That doesn't even make any sense. Like the bigger the fan you are, the more likely you would not want it changed. Like that's just like logically consistent.
Ridiculous. If you support censorship of a hobby, you are not a part of that community. I don't care if it's Dragon Quest or anything else. If you support censorship, you should not be a part of the community because you don't have their best interest in mind. And this user would respond basically saying you're fighting a straw man to feel good about yourself, where that original poster...
But yeah, let me go ahead. I think I respond to that one.
Translations seem mostly correct, but I'm not going to watch it again because...
Okay, random idiots. Let's keep going here.
...thing for any Reddit interaction. But continuing on, the internet is forever.
Autism
right?
capital.
So they take down the original tweet and the YouTube video, but everyone's seen it, right? The message is out there. People understand the concerns that...
Oh yeah, I think Elon Musk, didn't he retweeted that? That's crazy. The owner of Twitter retweeting something like this. That's pretty cool. It gets the word out there. It kind of shows... It shows gamers... I mean, it shows everyone what gamers like actually want and what like the people like involved, you know, kind of want.
Were expressed in this video, and it's
yeah. I mean, also somebody says, unironically, 4chan is good for critical thinking sometimes. If I want to know what people really think, I go to 4chan. Give a man a mask, and he'll show you his true face. And the most schizo, insane, batshit crazy, delusional, dumb fucking opinion is on there, and it has just as much weight as the next guy who has a well-researched argument. And there is a degree of... what's the word for it? There's a principle in that, where everybody really is the same. Everybody gets the same voice, the same box that they can speak in, and everybody can have their opinion. It's fair. It's true.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Because in places like Reddit, you're like, you know, censored to some degree, and you might not say something because you don't want to lose points, or, you know, you don't want to get censored by Reddit for saying... Well, actually, you don't want to get banned from the subreddit or, like, censored on the subreddit because everyone downvoted you because they, don't agree with what you're saying, even though what you're saying could be true. But that's why Reddit is mostly, like, a hug box and stuff.
Quality. Yep.
You know, on Twitter, you might not say anything, because you don't want to get, like, blocked by, like, some people or something. And you might not like certain things because you don't want to lose your job, or actually I think likes are not public now, right? So, but before, if you like something, you could like literally lose your job and stuff. So I see his point that 4chan is just like a place where I guess everyone's equal. Like I assume there's no downvotes and like stuff like that. It's just like everything's equal. There's no ulterior motive on 4chan, because even for Twitter, there's like, you might say certain things to get more engagement, to get more money or something from Twitter. You know, there's like many factors at work.
That's right. No discrimination. That's right.
That's kind of weird, huh? For 4chan to be the most fair place on the internet, compared to all these other places, like, you know, Reddit, Twitter, and all these, like, other places. That's pretty crazy to think about.
Re-uploaded in many different instances, including this particular post that is still up as of recording this video, that actually got way more impressions than the original video. This one racking up 18 million views on Twitter. And part of the reason it got so much attention is because Elon Musk...
Somebody says Reddit has a professional community. You're being crazy. That's exactly why I think it's bad. It's because people that operate in a professional capacity are operating in a disingenuous way. That's why, for example, like, that's why I said LinkedIn is really bad, because a lot of people that are posting on LinkedIn are doing it to keep up appearances. Like everybody's acting, right? Like you're acting.
Would quote retweet this and, of course, give it a lot more of a signal boost than the original video had. And people got very upset about this. Seeing Elon Musk engaging in this conversation, you have people like...
I wonder why that guy's so mad. All Elon Musk did is he retweeted a public interview and he gave his opinion. That's it.
Like this saying, you stay away from Dragon Quest, which leads to this amazing quote right here where this user says, what's truly insane is that these weirdos' takeaway from this Dragon Quest thing is that wokeness is ruining games and censoring them when it is literally and always has been the religious right that is censoring them. How can you possibly get to that conclusion?
Well, I think that people can get to that conclusion because they lived past the year 2004. They're right. This is exactly what used to happen.
Oh yeah, but it used to happen. Obviously, like that's not happening now. The religious right doesn't have the power to censor these games in the first place.
Like as a kid, I grew up in the 90s, right?
Yeah, because he's saying that in past tense, not like currently. Because currently, you can tell who's censoring the game because, and honestly, if the religious right was censoring the game in the first place, how would it be possible that there's like more gays in the games? There's like surgery scars and like all this stuff like in games that presumably the religious right would be censoring.
Very regularly, there were arguments and things on Fox News, and you know, your local news would talk about how video games are satanic, Pokemon is satanic.
Yeah, but how would those games still exist then? Like how, like Doom exists, Doom, and a bunch of other games with like, I don't know, Satanists and stuff in the game. Like they exist and they haven't been censored.
It was very, very common, especially in Texas. Yeah, like I remember in 3rd grade, it might have been 4th grade, one or the other. I got sent home with.
But yeah, let me skip this.
Guess what needs to be removed? Well, this story, sure. And so that it doesn't matter like who it's coming from. It's stupid when like the Middle East does it. It's stupid when we do it.
Actually, wait, let me
It's
go back.
always
That might be
to your ideology. It's bad when they do it,
yeah.
And it's bad when anybody does it.
Yeah.
Like if you're taking your ideology and you're trying to make people's art conform to your ideology, then you're invading their space, and you're being controlling. Like it's obnoxious. Like contains spoilers, yeah, sure. And so that it doesn't matter like who it's coming from. It's stupid when like the Middle East does it. It's stupid when we do it. It's always stupid.
The 90s called and they want their discourse back. This whole thing about religious groups censoring games has not been a thing, at least in the United States, for many years. In fact, you think about what's being censored and how it's being censored here.
Well, it's interesting how people can't really point to because when they say religious right, people can't really point to any specific person. That's religious, that's on the team, that is conforming things to their agenda, because on the opposite side you can point to a bunch of people on who literally work on the games who are trying to conform the games to their own ideology and stuff.
Do you think any religious organization would support a type A and type B body type?
Type A. That's a good point.
I'm pretty sure they would support the exact...
Yeah, God, you know, Adam was like a type A and, you know, Eve was a type B. Like, no, obviously fucking not.
Opposite of that. And these people don't understand the closest thing to religious censorship here, or censorship from any sort of religious group, would be these woke people censoring these games, because they function much like a cult. So if there's
it just flipped the other way. Now it's like leftist censoring everything. So
anything close to a religious group censoring anything, it is the wokeness.
I do think it's a dogmatic, like ideological cult. I think that like 2 other examples of that are like, I think there's a lot of Trump people that have devolved so much that it has become a cult. And I think the same thing is true with QAnon. Like, those are other cults. And they function as religions. They're not religions, but they function the same way.
Just like a bunch of fanatics. And that's how they censor all these things and demand that these things be censored. And anyone who talks out against it
guys.
is dismissed as some sort of a horrible, disgusting person. But going on, you know, you think about what we just saw there and the type of people that these companies are dealing with and what these creators in particular are dealing with. Don't forget that Square Enix was a Sweet Baby client. At least they were publicly listed as one only up until a few days ago. Now they have their name removed from this list, and whether they're continuing to work with...
Oh, I forgot why it was removed. Because I think there was something about that. Yeah, I forget.
Sweet Baby in the background, just not showing it publicly.
Let me see. Where? Wow. True. Yeah, I'm not seeing Square Enix anywhere here. Man, there's 2 names less than in the video? Yeah, I guess so. Let's see what the other one that's not there now. I'm not even entirely sure. But either way, man. So it looks like they did get removed.
They have been working with Sweet Baby for quite some time, and don't be mistaken, there's definitely some sort of an influence on the direction of that developers, because it's clear that they've gone that route with their products, and you're really just dealing with insufferable people. And this is a quote from the interview saying, "Doing business with such a ridiculous country is really frustrating," referring to the United States, because we have people like Sweet Baby constantly trying to wedge their way into every project. We have a bunch of people crying on social media over the most benign things and demanding things be changed to essentially conform with their delicate sensibilities. It must be exhausting. Now, let's go back to the original post sharing that interview.
I haven't really been saying anything.
All traces of that original poster's videos have been removed. And
I mean, someone re-uploaded it.
A lot of people have come forward in articles and Twitter threads over the past couple hours.
Oh yeah, I did see that. They say it's mistrans, but I believe it's only one word that's actually mistranslated.
Basically dismissing the entire interview as the product of mistranslations. Basically saying the entire interview and everything they said is completely worthless because it's all mistranslations. But in reality,
it's all
there's only one mistranslation. And the original account that uploaded the video has sent out an apology. And it seems to me, and this is just my opinion, it looks like this was made by a lawyer, where they say, "I would like to sincerely apologize for the incorrect English subtitles created for Mr. Kazuhiko Torishiyama. Statement in the scene."
Geez, actually, how long has it been? 29 minutes. Okay, so let me wrap this up. Let me wrap it up. I mean,
it's even worse now. That's the thing,
don't really like it, and they're doing this because of...
In the scene where he mentioned Puritan, it was mistakenly translated as sex education.
Apparently, to them,
because Puritan's way more broad than religious.
Aware of some sort of context where they have to do this in order to get into Western markets. Those are the way more important parts of this interview, and you're saying one mistranslation of one phrase in this nearly 3-minute interview.
So actually, let's watch the coveted interview. So we'll start at the beginning. Wait, can you guys see? Okay, again.
いろいろ規制もあってね。
Various regulations.
まあそこちょっとあんまり深掘りする気はないんですけど。
Not allowed to show too much skin.
いいのにだってフィクションだけどその中に主人公というあなたが入って冒険するっていうことでいいじゃないと思うんですけど違うんですかね。なんですかね。よくわかんないですけどね。これについてはね。ゲームだし、まあフィクションという自分の中のバーチャル体験でのノンフィクションだから。
As long as it's enjoyable.
ければいいのっていう。思っちゃいますけどね。
あんまり露出するとね、年齢が上がっちゃうっていうね。
Too much exposure, the age rating goes up, means we won't be able to sell it as an all-ages product.
違ったりするんでね。広く売ろうと思うと一番厳しいところに合わせざるを得ないとか。
でも当時そんなこと思わなかったですけどね。
コンプラっていう名のね、やっぱりね、ある種のね、なんだろうな、絶対心というべき、善の名を借りた悪みたいなのがあるよね。 全員が
Mm.
不快感を覚えないなんて
Tend
こと
to
は
doesn't make everyone uncomfortable.
だって不快なことを覚えるどうこうでもいいわけよ。だって綺麗汚いとかさ、全員
Beauty,
悪ってそれ
ugliness
ぞれに感じ方があるわけじゃん。
Good and evil are different
で
for everyone.
物事はやっぱり根っこにあるのはやっぱり絶対やっちゃいけないことだけいくつかあって、それをさえやらなきゃあとはいいじゃないって、そういうのがないわけよ。
はい
だからやっぱり英米の方から来てるその
Especially in America, that influences their approach to sex education. So I guess I'm supposed to be
彼ら
Puritan.
のコンプラの考え方って
Their approach to compliance is really narrow-minded.
でだから向こうでコミックスだけに全部その年齢で
Everything had to be categorized by
区
age
切っ
group.
てやらなきゃいけない。少年ジャンプの漫画だったら13
For Shonen Jump manga, they couldn't be sold unless they were rated for ages 13 and up.
でそれを訴訟が起きるそのために
Lawsuits, the company also has to get insurance. Doing business with such a ridiculous country is frustrating.
そっから日本も悪
Because of that, Japan also gets negatively influenced.
主人公もね男女選べるんだけど、男女選
To
べ
be
る
able to choose between male and
タイプ
female,
1タイプ2なのね
to label them as type 1 and type 2.
これ男女誰が一体文句言うんだろうと思うんだけど
Even complaining about this.
わかる
なんか
So that's I think the part of the video that Elon Musk tweeted out. Because I think there's like a longer full interview, but this is like the re-upload. So I think the thing about this is that like even censorship in America affects Japan. And then that causes things to become pre-censored because they don't want to change something. They don't want to put in the extra effort to like change something, to have like two different versions. For example, like a Japan version and like a American version. So if it's like type 1 and type 2 in the United States, then they might change like the next game would be type 1 and type 2 in Japan to begin with. So it kind of just shows like the censorship just gets more intense each time. Now this game in particular, the game that's like being released, I'm sure it's gonna be like type 1, type 2, like from Japan, like in the beginning. But like I think that's already, but I would say like that's how censorship like increases. Like on one hand, it might start with like, oh, this censorship just happens in America. Then the next game, the censorship will become pre-installed in Japan. And it'll be like censored in Japan and America at the same time. So that kind of like even sucks for them. They then have to deal with the censored game because it offends some people's sensibilities in America. And so they brought up the age rating, and the age rating argument's interesting because they could just up the age rating to T for teen if that's like really the problem. They could just upgrade it for T for teen in America and still be able to sell it. Because I feel like most parents don't care if like something's rated E or like rated T for teen. Like I think the only, I mean, you could argue they don't really care about M since there's a bunch of kids playing Call of Duty and stuff. But I think E to T is like no one really cares about that actually. But like I don't see a significant decrease in sales. If it's rated T instead of E. And they could just have that change for America if like that's the reason. They could just change the rating in America and like the ratings everywhere else, they could just have it the same everywhere else. Just change the rating for America if that's, you know, the reason. But the rating doesn't constitute why they would change male and female to type 1 and type 2 body types. That is purely a political agenda driven decision. So it's clearly being affected by like you know, the DI team at Square Enix, so that sucks. And obviously I'm against it. Also, isn't it very interesting how they never give you the choice to choose between, like they never give you the choice like, hey, do you want to type 1, type 2, or do you want like male and female in the beginning? They just defaulted to like the new version, which is type 1, type 2. Which, you know, we all know what they're supposed to be, but it's being changed purely for gender. But yeah, I think this video is long enough. So I'll see you later. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and that's all.